Hello, everybody. Hey, Sil. Welcome, welcome. We are live. It is Tuesday, August 11th. Hope y'all are doing good today. Just making sure all my stuff is lined up here. So, say hi in the chat, and I'll get going in a few minutes. Today, we're going to talk about opacity in paints. Because when I posted about the live yesterday, I asked if there was any um, questions or things you wanted to see in regards to gel printing, and that was um, one of the topics that was listed. That was from Karen over at Slap and Paint on Paper, and so we'll talk about that today. Hi, Rosemary. Hey, Zal. Yeah, get that coffee. I should have had mine too. I had mine like much earlier. I just can't drink coffee throughout the day. Hey, Darlene, how are ya? Welcome. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. That helps a lot. Lets people know that I am live and that we're hanging out and doing some fun stuff. Hi, Adrian. Hello. If you're wondering what I got here, so I was waiting and hoping Paula was going to be here, but I don't know where she is or if she's going to join us at all today. She doesn't have to. But if you're watching Paula, look. So this is inspired by Paula King, my co-designer over there at PM Artist Studio, and she created one of these wall hangings. See, look at that. Using toilet paper rolls. So these are toilet paper rolls that are taped together, then I've glued. Actually, then I gessoed it because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I gessoed the whole thing. It made it a little bit stronger, and then I covered it in a gel print I pulled on some. I think this was medical exam paper. Hello, Anne. Welcome. And so I covered the tubes in that, and then each tube holds a gel print. How cool is that? So Paula had made one of these, and I don't know if you saw it in Makers or not, but she always does a wonderful job with these little projects that she does. And I told her, when she first did it, that I was going to make one, and it took me a while to get there, but finally got around to doing it. And it's a lot easier um, than I thought it would be. So let me show you. I'm going to pull these out. You know what? Well, I don't have to pull them out actually. So I covered both sides in the same gel print. So basically, you do want a large gel print, or you want a couple of gel prints that coordinate. That'll work. All work together. Um, so, and then I just used that Blick acrylic medium, like P uses at PM Artist, um, to glue it all down, and then just rolled up some prints and put them in, and it hangs right on your wall. Isn't that cute? So that's an idea from Paula Keen, got from her. So that's credit to her, but she always gives me good ideas, and I love to try them because they're always so special and wonderful. So this will be going back up on my wall. Hello, Catherine. Hey, Mo. How are you? Mo is Cookie Wookie, guys. Y'all know her from PM Artist Studio fame, aka Water Lily. All right, so today now Karen's not here yet, and I know this was asked by Karen. So I'm gonna read to you what Karen asked me to talk about today. Now, if Stacy, if you come into the chat or if you're watching, let me know you're here because I want to address your question as well. So I think I'm gonna do your question first. Actually, no, I'm going to do Karen's first because it's a little more There's a little more to it. And then I can, if I have time, I'll do the other question. And then Mo asked another couple good questions. So I'm going to save that for Thursday's stream, and I can talk about that then. So let's see. Yeah. Nope. Wrong button. Wrong section. Okay, there we go. So after I posted about this live yesterday over in Makers, Karen asked maybe a little bit more color conversations about opaque paint, how it performs, and when the best time is to use it to show off the best prints. Um, so, hi, Panka. Welcome. So good to have you all here. Um, so, I kind of did a little research last night and this morning. It got a little bit sciency, but not so much so. But I think it'll helps understand better how the opaque paints work. Um, so this is good info if you're new to gel printing or if you've been doing it for a while, because I get rusty and I like to, you know, stay note up on all the important info. So basically, hey, Mariah, welcome. So basically, what I've discovered is that what I learned is that acrylic paint is mainly opaque because of the combination of pigment properties, pigment concentrations, and particle size. Um, some pigments naturally block light really well. So, for example, your titanium white, cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and various iron oxides. Other pigments are naturally transparent, such as your quinacridones, your phthalos, and many of the organic pigments. And you'll find those more in your higher end uh, paint lines. You know, now the more pigment particles are suspended in the acrylic binder that makes the paint, the harder it is for the light to pass through. All right, which makes sense. So, like a professional heavy body paint is generally they have higher pigment load than inexpensive craft paints. So you're gonna get a much more opaque uh, product. Now, there's a thing called the refractive index. It's a major reason that certain pigments appear opaque. So when the light encounters the pigment particles, it differs significantly from the surrounding medium. The light gets scattered rather than traveling straight through. So titanium dioxide is particularly effective at scattering the light, which is why the titanium white is really opaque. So that's often why you'll see P at PMR Studio. If she wants to make a paint opaque or more opaque, she adds titanium white. And you got to be careful. You don't want to obviously add too much. You want to add enough to make it a little less translucent. Um, and let's see. Let me continue. I got a little like a chart here and everything. What I might do is clean it up a little bit, and then I can upload it to Makers for you guys to check out. Um, the thickness of the paint layer. Um, so I know P talks about this a lot, and so does Mariah over at PMR Studio. So um, even a transparent paint can look almost opaque if you layer it down thick enough on the gel plate, right? So conversely, if you take a regular paint that tends to be more opaque, more translucent, it's going to be appear much more translucent um, if it's layered out thinly or if you were to add water or some sort of medium like an airbrush medium, and that will spread things out as far as the particles and make it appear more translucent. So you with me so far? um, let's see who's here. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt this and I'll say hi. Hey, Becky. Yeah, I'm doing all the things. Let's see. Karen, hey girl. This is all about you today. Well, your question. Thank you, Carla. Hope you're doing well. Um, so we're talking about the opaque paints. Um, Now, let's talk about another thing. Opacity is not the same thing as color strength. So, for example, a phthalo blue can have an enormous amount of tinting in it, but it's naturally quite transparent. So, a tiny amount can strongly color a large amount of white paint, yet it doesn't necessarily cover what's underneath. So, you can think of it this way: opacity equals how effectively the paint hides the surface underneath, and the tinting strength is how strongly the pigment changes another color. So it's two different things. Now, if you're asking because you're trying to make an acrylic paint more opaque, you can also we can talk about um, how to make increase the opacity without dulling out your color or making it dull. Um, let's see. So I'm good here. All right. So one of the first things that I will show you is that way. Let's get one gel plate. Yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to layer a couple of things, and we're going to have to start it and let it dry, and then come back to it, obviously, because of it's got to dry. But I want to show you. So um, one of the biggest advantages of using opaque paint is that it lets you cover up portions of previous layers. So you can use it strategically. And I'll use P as an example again. If you've ever watched P add layers to either her brayer offs or to other gel prints, she'll strategically focus on certain areas that she wants to cover in certain areas that she wants to highlight. So she'll use an opaque paint like a white um, to achieve that. Um, so let's see here. We're going to start with one layer here of paint. Uh, oh, thanks, Mariah. Sorry, I'm not reading chat right now, so if you need anything, give me a moment and I'll get with you. So I'm going to start with the transparent paint on the plate. Let's see here. I'm going to start with this manganese blue. Just going to do one layer. See how it's thicker over here? You can't really see through it, right? But as you brayer it, it gets the transparency reveals itself. And this is why it's important to control how much paint you put down on your plate, depending on what you want to achieve. Now, this is going to have a kind of sell out a little bit. That's just because of the oils on the plate and all that. Don't worry about that. I'm not concerned about that right now. So I just lost my screen. All right, let me go. So I'm going to give this a second to dry, and then I'm going to add another layer in a contrasting color, and you'll see. All right, no worries, Zal. Take your time. I'm going to be here for a little bit. Um, okay. Sorry, guys. I'm like trying to do three things at once, and I really should not be. All right. So, what I want to do is I want to add a layer of yellow, right? So you're going to get some green, and then I'm going to add a stencil on top and add an opaque paint through the stencil, and then we'll go from there with a final pickup color, hopefully to create a really cool print. Hopefully, I didn't try it before, but we're going to try it live. That has to dry. Now I do have a couple of plates that already have paint on them, so we can go ahead and add paint to these. So this one has my twisted flowers on it in black, and this was a thin layer because I was doing some other prints, and then on the back there is a opaque paint, and that is a light phthalo green. This one I've been trying to use up. It's almost gone. It's a light phthalo green from the golden acrylic line. Um, it doesn't say heavy body, but it's more of a heavy body than all the other golden paints that I usually use, like the fluid acrylics. Hello, Alicia. Hello, Diane. Hi, Ivy Pearl. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. We're talking about opaque paints today. Hi, Nancy. Welcome, welcome. Um, so to this, I can add an opaque paint. So then I'll have three opaque paints, and that's fine. But what I want to try and do, which kind of what I'm doing with that first print I just laid down, is use a transparent paint to pull it, which I think is going to make it a little bit more wow. If that makes sense. I'm hoping it does. That's the goal. So I'm going to get a transparent paint to pull it. And I think for this, I'm going to go in with, where are you? The Azel Gold, which should be really cool, a contrast with these colors here. Hey, Gina, how are you? Okay, again, don't add too much if you want to keep it on the more transparent side. But it is the pull paint, so you pull layer. So you want to make sure you've got enough to cover all the surfaces so that it pulls well. Now, I hope I am making sense, because it's kind of weird when you're doing this kind of thing and you're just talking to yourself, like, and you don't get the verbal feedback. So, please throw some hands in the air in the chat if you have a question or you need me to repeat something. You're more than happy to. Yes, it is yummy, isn't it? All right, this is my 28-pound hammer mill color copy paper that I'm using. What I need is something to drink, because it's another hot day. It's already 84 degrees here. Okay. No worries, Nancy. We know you love us. I'm so glad you're here. So I don't know if you like, it's hard without a side by side comparison, but from what I'm used to is when I put down that layer of transparent paint and then I pick it up with that white paper, it kind of makes it more, kind of makes it glow in a way, if that makes sense. So we're gonna wait, let that dry, and then pick that up. Hey, Beth, welcome. Uh, should be drying now. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna add some yellow to this, and I'm gonna add the transparent yellow, which is, most yellows tend to be on the more transparent side. Um, and again, oops, braring it out thinly will give you a more transparent, translucent look. But you see, it's pretty transparent once you start braring it out, getting it all on the plate. Mhm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I had to take a serious power nap yesterday. And Karen, apologies, but that's why I missed your live. And I noticed you went long yesterday, so I got to go back and watch that. Um, but it was good. I needed it because, like, I woke up with this energy, and I'm like, I'm gonna schedule my lives, and then I saw the questions later on that night, uh, um, on the post. So I'm like, awesome, great topics to discuss. And all right, so there we go. Get 2 layers there. Give that a few minutes to dry. Also, I was adding a strip of some stamping to one of my pups. When I posted them, I forgot to include the updated version of this one. So I used a PMR Studio stamp here with white, with titanium white on there. And of course, I put too much up on my plate. So I had to put it down, stamp it off. So I said, let me stamp off some flowers onto a couple of plates, and we can do stuff with them. Um, so let's see here. Let me go back to my outline. Um, when we're thinking of opaque paints, think of it as a kind of a reset button within a layered print. You don't have to cover the entire previous image. You can use it selectively. I did that. Let's see if I can find the right prints to show you that. Hey, hey. I had some examples yesterday that thought I said. Is this one? This is one. Here we go. Okay. So this print was originally the bright, colorful stuff you see underneath. It was a brayer off. And what I did is I came back and I added a layer of opaque paint with a stencil, and that created a masking effect, obviously, but it made it much more interesting because you've got these really interesting shapes, but vibrant colors coming from behind them, from through the outline. Um, so when you use it selectively, you can make prints like this that are really impactful, and they look like they're complicated, but they're absolutely not. Okay, so like I said, this was a brayer off sheet, and all I did was put the stencil down on the plate, put paint through the stencil, picked up the stencil, put my paper down, and you get this really cool intense print, right? And it looks like it took hours, but it wasn't. I would wish I had gotten down to this edge here, but you know, can't be perfect. Um, so it's important that you don't use too much paint when you're doing this too. Um, when you're using opaque paints, you don't, especially on your gel plate, you want to work with less. Um, Try to work with less. You're going to get less muddy details. You're going to get um, avoid your unwanted blobs. Like sometimes you put too much down and you think you've brayered it out, but then you've got like you flip your plate over, or if you don't have the plate on plexi, when you pull your final print, you get this big blob of like whatever paint color that was, and the rest is all spread out. Um, it also avoids you leaving too much paint behind on the plate and causing like, chunks coming out. That happens too, especially if you don't brayer out the paint evenly. Um, but the opaque white is great to create highlights. It can partially obscure an earlier layer. You can create negative looking shapes. Like P was doing it with the brush on some of her prints where she went around the flowers with the white paint to make that flower stand out. And you can do that in an inverse way as well. Um, you can create like foggy effects and establish a light background for transparent colors. If you're using it, remember when you're layering on a gel plate, your first layers are what's going to be seen first. So obviously, those transparent colors you want first, and then your opaque paint. Um, let's see. All right, let's talk about mixing really quick. If you want a color to be more opaque, you're adding white, and it will make it lighter and more opaque, but it changes the color too. So if your acrylic line contains opaque versions of the same hue, try those instead if you can. Um, but if you don't want to spend that extra money, you can certainly um, add your white, but start with a little bit and then increase as you need to. Um, and then here's a way of thinking of your different paints. So your opaque paints are best for blocking, focal shapes, highlights, and strong stencils. Uh, this is an example of blocking and strong stencil. Your semi-opaque paints are great for general layering, and your transparent paints are great for glazing and optical color and depth. Um, and you don't need to use one. You don't have to choose between one or the other. As you can see, we've used both in the same gel and on the same prints, and it looks much more interesting than if you're just using only transparent and only opaque or semi-opaque. And when you're doing a long haul, that's why I always say use all the different paints you got. Balance it out, between, going between your fluid acrylic, your medium body, your heavy body, your high flows, and alternate, go back and forth, creating those really interesting layers. And that gets you a lot more dynamic and interesting prints as you're doing your long haul. Okay. Let's see here. So I have a little bit more, for the gel print, for opaque, but it's easier to show you. So We're going to keep going on the gel plates, and I'll show you some different things. But like I said, please feel free, ask some questions. Let me go into the chat here. Let me see, say hello to anybody I've missed. Hello, Glenda. How are you? Thanks, Becky. All right, so let's add a. I'm going to add a transparent layer to this. Now, also, I'm not going to add. Let's do this. I'm going to add a opaque layer, and this stencil here. This is Rhonda's Dottie Miss Dottie, but it's been altered. The edges are all cut off, which you can do because it's your stencil. Once it's yours, do whatever you want. All right. So, hey, Linda, how are you? All right. So, y'all shout out an opaque color for the next layer. While I take a sip of water. Okay, green, dark red. Okay, Catherine, no worries. I was up at 3 a.m. Darn weather won't let me sleep. All right, so far I got green and dark red. Prison purple. Oh, I don't have a prison purple. I have a prison purple. Well, this is white. This is titanium white on the plate. Sorry. It's hard to see because of the color of the stencil, but it is a white on there. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. How about mauve? We've got purple in here. We've got red in here. Let's do that. So I'm going to put some first on the plate and then put it on. So I don't want to put it on too thick. Now, let's see what this is. Did I pick an opaque paint? All right, this is, see here? It's a semi-opaque, but let me see, because on the bottle, yeah, semi-opaque paint. Um, but if I layer it on thick enough, obviously, it's going to be more opaque. Let's see here. There we go. Let's go. It's a nice shade, isn't it? It's kind of in the berry family. Again, this is Dottie Miss Dottie by Miss Rhonda. Set her over here. So here we got our 2 layers. You can see, I don't know if you can see in there. It is more on the translucent side. Now, if I wanted it more opaque, obviously I could have gone with a thicker layer, but I think we're good. So let that draw here. Get the cleanest stencil on here. It's fun, right? A fun combo. Ta-da. And this is deli paper if you didn't know. Okay. Okay. This here. So to this, I want to do an opaque. So I think I'm just going to do straight up white. But I'm going to use them. I'm going to use masks. We've got the feathery eyed clusters, the mandala set. This is by PM Artist Studio. Hopefully these won't move too much. There's already lots of paint on these. So hold your breath. And then I have the little clusters. So basically this inner portion was made into masks as well. Tambien. Use that. This is one of my favorite PM Artist Studio designs. If you didn't know. And Mo's dropping links in the chat if you're interested. Check those out. Now, I got to be careful because this isn't as dry as I would normally want it to do this sort of thing. But we're going to be brave and just do it. Hello, Shannon. Welcome. Sorry about the camera. It's hooked to the same shelving that I have my brayers on and a lot of my paints. So it's a shaky. So let's see. We're going to put dots paint all around. And again, this is titanium white. This is our opaque layer. So far, we've got 2 layers of paint, but they're both transparent. Now we're going to add a layer of opaque. We're going to let that dry. And then we'll do a pull layer. I'm going gently so I don't lift my masks. While I'm doing this, just a reminder, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you are watching but you can't chat, because you need to subscribe. So if you want to join the chat, subscribe. And share the stream if you are enjoying what you see. Get into all the nooks and crannies. Sometimes it's harder to do with the up. That's what I was afraid of. It's harder to do. Do my best to get in there as much as I can. Hey, Evelyn, welcome. All right, I'm going to move this because I got to make room for these masks. Got my tweezers here. Does look good though. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, Stacy had asked the question in my post yesterday, Makers, about using crayons, a crayon drawing to pull a print. And I don't know if she's here or not. If you are, raise your hand. Now, I wasn't sure, she didn't clarify um, if she meant transferring crayon from paper to the gel plate or if she meant creating a resist. I'll try a few different things. I got my woodies here, and so we'll try that. So see, the white really just shined up those transparent layers. So now we got to figure out a full color. But we got to wait. That has to dry completely. Let's see if that first one is dry. So this is the one that had the two opaque layers, and then I'm adding, and then I pulled it with the transparent paint um, to give it a little bit of an extra glow. There. So it's a lot brighter than if I had just pulled it with an opaque paint, which you can do, but you can pull it with the transparent paint and your white paper, and it's going to make it a little more oomphy. Hello, Paula. Look at what we did, Paula. Jeez. Or look at what I made. It's all finished. Look, Paula. So Paula was the one who showed us how to do this out of toilet paper rolls. This is mine, and it's just a display for your artwork. These are rolled up gel prints. So this was inspired by Paula. Paved it back. All right, cool. All right. Thanks, Paula. So what are we doing here? So this one here, this is pretty dry. So let's do a transparent color on here. Pull this. I'm looking at some of these paints here. These are the color shift paints. And this one has added airbrush medium because it was running low. But you want to shake them up good because they tend, even when they don't have added stuff, you want them. Oh, you know what? I found my beads yesterday, so I want to show you. It looks like it. These folks yesterday at PMR Studio were asking about the metal balls that you can use for your paint bottles. So these what I have. They're 5.5 millimeter stainless. You want to make sure they're stainless. It says Stel, but they spelled it wrong. Of course, but that's okay. All right, so you see these little They're like ball bearings. But the important thing is that they're stainless steel. So I'm going to add a couple in here to help me stir that pancake and get up any of that stuff on the bottom. You can hear it. You know, I had to do it one day, Mariah. Yeah, it's Paula. It's been happening in a lot of different chats. If you wave your cursor or your mouse over it, it changes it back to what you actually wrote. It's a weird YouTube thing. It's not a you thing or it's a YouTube thing. We were talking about it last night actually, because it changes to. It's weird, Zal. Like we will change your we'll type in your name like hi Zal, and it adds a little weird character in the front, and then it changes it to solution. Really weird. But like I said, if you hover your it's not just you, it's a lot of different people, or sometimes if you type a certain word or a different language, it'll translate it automatically back to the English. But if you just hover your cursor or your mouse over it, you will see the what was actually written. Yep. See? When Becky puts in también, it says also. I see also. No, I don't see it because I'm looking at two different things. I'm looking at my StreamYard studio and I'm looking at my um, YouTube studio behind the scenes. And the YouTube one will show the weird character and the translation. It's so weird. Very, very weird. Let's put layer that down. So you see that's pretty loose stuff. So it's gonna do a little bit of crazing, but I think it's gonna create. It'll give me enough to be a decent full color because there's not a ton of paint on the plate. A lot of open space there. So I'm gonna do that. Yeah, it's a weird thing. No, it's they're not targeting anybody. It's just a weird thing that happens. Just a weird thing. Hey, Darcy. Oh, it's like when I say hi D. What does it say when I say hi D? I think it says like come get the D or something like that. um, see now. Yeah, it's there is D. It changes it to there is D. um, so here's something that I'll do different on another one because I have another plate with these white flowers on it. You see that that light color shift kind of washed out the white flowers, right? So let's do one where we don't use we use a stronger color so it can uh, really show that what do you call it? The white. Okay, that's too dry. Oh, here it is. Now, keep in mind too that because these are stamped, these aren't solid. All right, they're not solid. You can see through them a little bit just because of the stamping. So let's add a layer here. Do some. Let's just use Miss Dottie again. It fits perfectly on the plate. Okay. All right, so let's do an opaque. Now, one that I know is definitely opaque is yellow ochre. Yeah, the bloom that's stamped on the plate is from the bloom stamp cluster, but I cut it apart to make individual stamps. Just do a layer of this yellow ochre. This, make sure it's nice and opaque. I'm really pushing, get into all the areas there. All right. What am I looking at, Paula? Because it's hard to see when I'm doing all this. Let's see here. See above. Who am I looking at, Paula? I'm just going to continue with this. Get that down and just pick it up because I want to use these for the work with the woodies. I've got another plate with an opaque layer of flowers, so we can do another test with opaque layers. Ta-da! I love that noise. All right, so that's going to show the flowers a lot more. So I think we're going to go think about a color, but we're going to want something that's much darker to pull this with. And then when we put those prints side by side, we can see the difference. My funniest one used to be when I typed my name at work. Paula Candy carries right. Pamela Queen, head of. That's a great title. It's very unique. Very unique. All right. So remind me, Mo. You said green, so we'll have to work on a green for that one. That doesn't have anything on it. Oh, a couple of plates to play with here. So this one was Paula's stencil, was a what do you call that? A flop off. And then on the back was my Twisted Flowers flop off. So there's two layers here. All right. So let's pull this with a nice dark, and these are too opaque but you see it still has stuff see-through. So I'm going to use another opaque to pull this one. I think I'm going to use a metallic for this one. No, I don't want that one. Don't want that one. This one. It's the metallic aqua green. It is webby. And I think what I want to do is I've got one of Rhonda's stencils. It's the spider web. So maybe we'll do a long haul with that on Thursday. I think that'll be fun. And get some Halloween papers ready. Oops, that's a lot there. Don't need that much. Don't need that much. Yes, this is one of those colors that's like super, super good. No matter what, it always shows up and it shows up right. And again, make sure you give your paint a nice even brayering, as best as you can. And I think just get regular paper down on here. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so we'll do Webby next stream, which is already scheduled. Look at me scheduling stuff ahead of time. Aren't you proud of me? But it's a good way to get my brother out of the house because he just left. I don't know if y'all heard the door open and close, but he doesn't like it when I do this and he's there because he can't watch TV. Suck it. Okay. Whoa. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Yeah. Listen, I have my ways. Yeah, Rob, look at that, Rob. Look at that. This way, that way, all the ways. By the way, Rob is Paula's husband. Hi, Luann. Hey, Sherry. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so that's definitely got to dry. It's got to dry well. There's 3 layers going on there. Let's see how the white is coming along. That's still wet. But I don't know. It seems like the lines have gone a little bit sharper. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it differently. We'll see. Let's see. Now, this one here is just the flowers. See, I was working on some prints to send off to PM Artist Studio, and there was a couple that needed another layer. So I was doing some what do you call it? Off-camera gel printing the other night, and this was left over. So I'm like, let me leave it for the stream, for the next stream. So let's do this one. Just see it at the corner of my eye. This is a basket. This is wicker. One of the wickers. I think it's style 1. I don't know, but it's a PMR Studio design. Press it down. what color? We need to add a color here. Let's use that lavender. This is that color Mariah was loving on the other day. It's Lucas Krill Lavender. Come on. There we go. Don't need that much. Tan Wicker Style 1. Look at me knowing things. Jeez. All right. I purposely did not skimp because I did want this to be opaque. I wanted this to be an opaque layer. We're going to do it, pull it with an opaque color. So you got to remind me when we're going to pull this, it's going to be an opaque color. Opaque paint. It's weird on my screen. The paint, this lavender looks a lot bluer, but it's definitely has a warmness to it in person. All right, that's that. So it's pretty intense as far as like, because the plate is yellow anyway, or yellowing. So it's hard to see the two layers. So I think it's important that we do get a nice dark opaque paint behind this. But either way, it has to dry. Bubbling up. Why are you bubbling, buddy? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Mariah. That it needs something to give it that oomph. Okay. That one might have an issue. There's an air bubble in there. That one to try. Let me clean this off. There's a lot of paint right here. Yeah, they eventually do, like Mariah says. Now you'll notice that my what do you call this? The 5x7s. This one is much darker than this one. So this one's pretty new to me. This one is the original, my first gel plate. Um, and I have used alcohol inks on it before. So that intensifies the discoloration, but it does not affect the performance of the plate whatsoever. So you have to worry about that. And as long as you keep your plate conditioned with your mineral oil or your baby oil, it's going to be fine. And if you use alcohol inks on your plate, and probably important to condition it afterwards because the alcohol tends to dry things out. But it doesn't affect the performance at all. Okay. Look, see, Pulls fine. Got a really pretty print here. This is just from using the paint, the plate as a palette. So importante. Okay. What do we got now? So, um, this was the question from another person at Makers, another maker, Stacy Rowe. She asked on my post about my live stream yesterday, can I use crayon drawings to pull a print? I haven't used my gel plate yet. I just took it out of the packaging this weekend and put it in a TH tin. I think that's a Timmy tin. Can I leave it in the tin to use, or should I put it on a glass or tile surface? Um, so Stacy, if you're here or if you're watching in the replay, um, because I use my plates often, I keep them on plexiglass. But plus, it makes it easier to flip it over and see what's going on. Because when you're working on a gel plate, you're working in reverse, right? The other thing is you can't, keep them stored in your tin if you want to. Um, I just and then people put a layer of paper on it. My thing is if you put a layer of paper on it and just leave it until the next time you use it, that paper is going to suck up a lot of the oils in the plate that you need um, to keep your plate sticky, because there has to be some amount of stickiness on your plate in order for it to work well. Now there are also people who they don't clean their plates very often, and you get crusty bits here and there, and that's fine. It's all personal, really. um but I'm telling you what I find, or I have found, with my gel plates. um if you use it often enough, I would just keep them um on your plexi, get a little shelving thing going to keep them on, and keep them out of sunlight, keep them away from heat sources, um keep it away from extreme cold, obviously. Um, don't store things on top of them. I have that fight with my brother all the time. He thinks that just put something down on top of it is fine. And when I say something, he gets mad, and I say, "Well, you didn't pay for it." And that's what I use for work. This is my equipment. You don't want me taking some of your BS tools out of your little tool bag and throwing them out and putting them in a tub of water. Like, these are my tools. So if you want respect for your tools, please respect my tools. Got it, buddy? Get it? Okay. Um, because it is a tool, and if you leave something on it, it's going to cause an indentation. Um, if you use if like little specks or chunks of something gets on it and it's left on there, it's going to leave a little divot in your plate, and that might affect the performance of the plate. So, you know, take care of your equipment as you would with any other job. Like Mariah says, respect the tools. Don't be a tool. Yeah, But if you don't use your plate that often and you want to keep it in your tin, that's fine. There's no problem with that. I just wouldn't put a piece of paper on top of the gel plate, because I think that would suck out too much of the necessary oils in the plate and cause your plate not to perform as optimally as you would want it to. All right. So, like, she wasn't as clear in the comment as to what kind of crayon transfer. So we'll do a couple here. Let's see. I got my woodies. I got some paper cut in half. So woody, this is the closest I have to a crayon. Um, these are water soluble. And the only other crayons I have are like these here. King Art mixed media gel sticks. And again, I believe these are water soluble. So I'm just going to stick with my woodies and let's do some mark making on here. Ooh, you're getting sleepy. Okay, let's see. Let's put down some paint on the plate. Some hazel gold. I like this color. You don't need a super thick layer either. Just not this. My brayers need a good soaking, that's for sure. All right, let's see where we get this. We get somewhat of a transfer here. No. But you can see, and it doesn't necessarily seal it in. As you can see, I'm gonna spray a little water on it. Where's my spritzer? Water. So see, it's water soluble and it is still going to run on you. Right? Um, that's one. Let's see if we do it without paint. Let's see. Let's just keep it within the confines of the plate. Let's see if we can get a transfer on here. Let's see how well that will transfer. Not great. Not great at all. Yeah. All right. So the other way I was going to try it is what Alicia just said is she's drawn on her play with the Neo colors and they pull up with the acrylic paint. They need to leave a shadow behind like this. But it does come up easily when you use your mineral oil or your baby oil. Hey, Dorothy. How are you? I just saw that comment, Mariah. I just saw, or really lube it up before storing. That can mean a lot of things. No, but Mariah's talking about your gel plate. Yeah. Um, and also, when I talk about cleaning gel plates, I also say if you are experiencing a dry gel plate, after you clean your gel plate and you wipe it down, with after you use your mineral oil or baby oil, put a thin layer of that same oil down on the plate and leave it to dry overnight. Leave it to soak in, and that's going to keep your plate nice and conditioned. Also, don't forget when you're doing the oiling is do the edges too, so it because your edges can crack if you don't keep them moist. I'm saying you got to keep them lubricated. You got to keep them lubricated. So reminder, please get those thumbs up. I appreciate it. Every little bit helps. We've been on since 1 o'clock. I'm probably going to go um, probably till 3, maybe a little longer, depending on my mood. Um, Here, so I'm going to do the woody on the plate. Now, Alicia, did you wet your Neo before you drew on the plate with it? Mariah says, with any of the colors or crayons, or says gel crayons, are going to be more of a resist to paint. So the fun stuff happens when you mix with the paint. Gotcha. All right, that's what I thought. So let me get a container here. I'm gonna put some water in it. Straw on the plate. And these are safe for your plate. Don't worry. Oh, Paula, are you ever? You're gonna get those weird ads. I'm gonna let that dry. Now, what I want to do with this one is let's do another one like this and add some color to it. See what it leaves behind. Quinacridone magenta. Dries pretty quickly too. Leave stuff behind, but not too much. As you can see. It looks really cool. Now, another thing that I have done that works transferring. I got to find that pencil. Quinn Madge. Does she? Quinn Madge, she's been known to lip sync, but it's usually when she's got a cold. Don't trust that other one. All right, what I've got here is a charcoal pencil. This is from Prang, Prang, made here in the U.S. of A. Yeehaw. Paul says, Rob just added his advice. Only put on your gel plate things you would put on your face or skin. See, he pays attention. That's a smart man. So you can draw on here and transfer it to your plate. So let's see. Let me see if I can. It does make awful noise. Sorry. I'm doing my best Darcy flower thing here. Okay. Oh, I spent 10 years in the South, Diane. Let's see. I moved from Boston to Memphis. I lived there for a couple years. And after that, I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple years. And then I lived in Southern Florida for about 8 years. Hello, zippity doo dah. See, that created a really good transfer. Let me see if I can flip her over. You could see it better there. You see, that transferred nicely. Let me get some paint on her on there. Let's see how well that will pull. This still needs to dry. Green gold. All right, take care, Beth. I appreciate you being here today. Yeah, she's trying too hard. Let's just say, Becky. She's trying too hard to get with kids, you know. Hey, Michelle with 1L and Miss Karen. So give that a second to go, and while that dries, I'm gonna get go for there. Forgot I got this plate here that needs a layer of paint. So for this one, what did we talk about for color? Michelle, yeah, I can start over for sure. Got $100? I'll start over for $100. Teasing you. You can watch on the replay. All right, Becky. Becky's gonna go hang with the kitties at the shelter. I love that she does that. She goes with her daughter and they hang out with the kitties at the shelter and they love on them and play with them. I love that. All right, so did we get a? Oh, Evelyn, you're new here. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I don't do hot pink. Um, but let's see how close I can get to it. So we were gonna backwards again, rewind. We're gonna do an opaque on here. That's what we're gonna do. Is that what we said we were gonna do? I think so. Do we want to do an? Should we do an opaque blue? Driving Eddie, it was hard not to stop. So okay, let me go back. Zas, blue or purple? Purple. Let's do purple. How about that? Let me find. I had a lovely purple here the other day. I think it went over here. Here it is. Dioxazine purple. Mo requested a green and I wanted gold. Girl, you are correct. I remember that. Okay. So I'm gonna do 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 gold in the middle, and I'm gonna do gold in the middle, and then purple on the ends, and let's see what happens. This is we're experimenting. We're experimenting here. So this is a semi-transparent paint. It's more on the opaque side though, the purple. Um, if I'm gonna be honest with you, a new rare offshoot. These were my graduation colors, kind of. Well, my high school colors were purple and white. Let's get that paper down. And if you're watching Stacy, this is why I like to keep my gel plates on the plexiglass and not real glass. I would not use real glass on it with the gel plate because that's asking for trouble. I would stick with plexiglass. This is why I like it, because you can flip her over and you can see how wonderful that combo is. Because you can see the white flowers. The dots are lovely with that purple behind it. Look. Ooh. And you still got the separation between the yellow and the gold. No, I don't see no brown. Now, it has to dry. And sometimes as the paint dries, it can change a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we're going to wait and see, and let's see how that purple affects these yellow ochre dots. Lavender dry yet? Yeah, that's pretty dry. All right, so for this one, we said we're going to do opaque, right? This one we want to do an opaque, and I think uh, there was a call out for a blue earlier, and I think that's where I'm going with this. Let me see. No, that's black. I'm going to use indigo to pull this. Mention that if you add a layer to capture the color, then the mixing is less likely to happen. Oh yes, if you want to be 100% sure that one color doesn't affect the next color, you can do what's called an interference layer, or an interference layer. You can just do a layer of gel medium, like a gloss gel medium. Just do a thin layer of that. That will lock in this. Let's say I do a thin layer of that gel medium on here. This will lock in that light blue and this lavender color. So if I put a color behind it that normally would change how it looks, it won't affect it. Okay. So what I would say is experiment, try it in both different ways and see what effects you get. But yeah, you can do that. You can even do an interference layer using your interference paints, because that can create a really cool look. So when you're moving your print, it creates different things there. Who's that? Jonna. Hello, Jonna. How are you? So I'm going to do this indigo. Yeah. Here's another thing about paint. The blues like to dry quickly, especially this particular indigo. I love it, but it does dry quickly. And sometimes you need a little more than you think. Let's pick this one up with some tissue paper. And you see that how that's textured like that? That's because of the texture um, of that lavender layer, and the transfer to the what you call that, to the brayer. This should cover. little short. The other thing that happens with gel plates too, especially if you move them a lot on and off your, if you move them a lot or you take them off your plate often, your you take them off the plexi often, it will stretch. So this is a 9 by 12 plate, but it has stretched because the paper I got on here is at least 9 by 12 or longer. But they do stretch. It's like a human. Things get bigger and stretchier as you get older, you know? That's why you hear about sagging in both men and women. Don't fight it, embrace it. Remember that movie when Harry met Saggy? All right. So I'm going to give it a little rub down on here too, because some of that paint needs to really adhere. There we go. So I think that's going to be a nice print. Now, mind you, the two colors are very pale, right? Um, so, but I don't know. I like the combo. I think I'm going to like it once it's dry. This one. This is almost dry. Let's see here. Pull some of that up there. All right. So this is the woody. Pick it up. Put some paint down here. Pick it up with do a little bit of orange. This is cadmium orange. And some of this magenta. Even on a small plate, you could do an ombre. Yeah. Go. Hello, Twisted Art Lady. Welcome. Oh, that's Bootylicious, Paula. I know that one. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. All right. Let's pull this one. This is the transfer I did with my charcoal pencil. Drew it on some paper, pressed it down onto the plate, and then pulled it with some paint. Now these extra marks, that's from the previous one, that the squiggles and stuff. That's from that one. But yeah, see. You can do that. Let's see if we can get another transfer with that same print here. We didn't add any paint to this. It's still just the pencil on there. See if we can get another transfer. All right, Mariah. Don't forget, guys, that today at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, PM Artist Studio go live for their Tweaky Tuesday live stream. So we'll be heading over there. Get another one. It's a little fainter, but you got another one. So let's go ahead. Put the paint down that. Cut up some paper here. Keep this one light. Let's do yellow. It's probably too much. Oh well. So that's another way to do some mark making on your plate, or adding marks to your plate, is with the Krang charcoal pencil. Krang, proudly made in the US of A. Okay. There you go. So this is the one we did with the Woody, the wet Woody. This is the Woodies I'm talking about. They are by Stabilo. Now, another way to do um, to transfer the Woodies to the thing. Let's wait. Let's stamp here. Let's try this. This is one of my lantern fly stamps. So I'm going to go over it with the wet Woody. You can go, I mean, you want to keep it not super moist. It just has to be damp. And it transfers well onto the foam stamp, sorry. Where'd that come from? You can do different colors on one if you want to do it all that. Hi, Aubrey. No worries, Aubrey. Thanks for hanging out. And then you could spray a little bit. Just mist it gently with some water. Usually you can get a good. Not as good as I'd like to be, but you get the idea. Now with the I wonder if I wet it more. Maybe I didn't wet it enough. Let's try it again. Now this works great on watercolor paper. This technique. Yeah. Could be the plate too, because it has a lot of this stuff on it, but you get the idea. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Set this to the side. Now I'm going to show you how I clean these really quickly. Because it does have wax residue on it, and I don't want that left on my plate. A little baby oil. You can use food grade mineral oil as well. Wait, what did I miss? Yeah, I am left-handed. Did you not know that? Yes, I'm left-handed. Yes. Yes. I can write upside down too. Yeah, I'm right. I'm left-handed, but I do a lot with the right hand. Like I cut with my right hand. Like I use scissors. Now, I think a lot of that is the indoctrination from school because they always wanted me to write like a right-handed person, and I'm like, but that doesn't work because I don't write with my right hand. That doesn't make sense. No, they always knew best. But then at the end of the day, I had the best penmanship in class. So all these other kids were writing like they, like this. Their hands were like this, and I might it might look funny when I'm writing, but you can read it. And that's the important part, isn't it? And this is just plain paper towel using. See how much comes up. And I get one around my edges. All that cleared up. All right. Good as new. Hi, Gray. Yeah. When I put my mind to it, my handwriting is really, really good. But these days, how often do you write? Is the thing. So, there we go. And that again was the graphite pencil transfer from paper to plate and then picked up with paints. So we got those. Let's, oops. No, it's the problem. You go there. Let's see. I don't know if this one's ready, but we're going to give it a go. So this is the one that had the layers that kind of look spidery. And then I pulled it with the metallic turquoise. Oh, so beautiful. I didn't know you're left-handed, Paula. How did I not know that? That's why we get on so well. We're both out of our right minds. Look how beautiful that turned out. You can stare in there for hours. I love it. This is the Karen. Where are you? No, it's not you. Is it you? No, not you. Is it you? No, not you. Is it you? No, not you. Talking to my paints here. It's in front of me. It is the metallic aqua green from Liquitex. Twisted Art Lady says, I'm a righty, but I ain't right. There you go. I love it. My mom had to learn to use her left because her right hand was injured. Yeah, see, that's tough to do too when you're even at a young age. But you got to do what you got to do to get on. Right? All right, let me see what else needs to be pulled. Something might still need drying time. This one I'm gonna let hang out for a little bit more. This is the one with the purple and the gold. Give that. This one's ready to go. Because you see the oil's coming through the plate. Look at that. Or the paper. This is the one that had a couple of air bubbles, so yeah, some paint might be left behind. Yeah, that print's going to be beautiful. I just want to let it dry a little bit longer before I try and pull it. Hi, Joanne. Welcome. So this is the one we pulled with the color shift paint that had some airbrush medium in it, and I added the balls too. And the dots are in mauve. It's a nice print, right? It's fun. Now, if I wanted to, I could have done the stamping of the paint a little more solid, but again, it was a stamp I used, so it wasn't as solid. It's not going to be as solid as you'd want it to be, just because of the nature of the stamp. So keep that in mind. All right. Look at how these colors work so well together. That's beautiful. It's fun. All right. Um, Now we have our big white one. We need to get paint on this sucker here. All right, this is the two layers of transparent paint. And then we did the layer of white with the masks. So I wanna this one's gonna be interesting for color choice. Oh, Evelyn, I don't do those pinks. I don't have those neon pinks. This is not my this is the closest to pink that I get. It's a purple flash. Yeah. But. Now with all this paint, I'm gonna do a thicker paint. Um, my only concern with the orange is that it can it may brown out some of the blue, but let's try it. Why not? We're here to try things out. We're gonna experiment, and I should have a big enough paper for this. Yes, that should be. That's pretty big. Okay. That is good enough for me. Where is trash? There we go. All right, so some orange down. No, I you cannot convince me to go and spend money on a pink paint. It's not in my nature. Nope, nope. All right, I'm gonna use some of this. This is a heavy body orange. Got this Liquitex vivid red orange. Right. That's good. Let's see if I can float this tissue down nice and evenly. Yeah, don't cut paper when you're half asleep. I cut this very early this morning. Oh well, what you gonna do? Gray, don't cause trouble. And I will just send it back. I will go out on the corner and I'll start selling that paint at a premium. Telling you, I can be very stubborn. So just making sure that that paper is nice and smooth. All right. So this is going to be interesting because this may change. It may change color as it dries, as far as like in the bluer areas. I'm not worried about the yellow outer bands, but maybe within here. But I like so far. I'm loving it. Um, Now, as far as pink, I don't think a pink would be much different than this orange, simply because of the layers that were already on here. Okay. But again, that's the other drop. It's too dry. So let's see here. Yeah. So what did we do? We did those. Let's do. So I'll show you something cool with the transparent paints. Get that little bit up. I do want that up. Put that down there. Sometimes the crusty edges will um, hinder your print. It will keep it from coming up nicely when you pull it. All right, so this is my new stencil. This is Whirly Birds, and I'll show you something. We're gonna do a thin layer here. Let's use this yellow, green, green, gold, and golden. Just make that nice and thin. All right, nice and thin. Should dry relatively quickly. So stencil is fun once you know how to use it. Uh, misbehave. So let that dry. Let's do one with opaque paints. On the opaque side. This is terracotta. Now, this terracotta, it says it's uh, semi opaque. But you don't roll it out too thin. It's more opaque than not. Here we go. Well, take care of your hands first before you do anything, Alicia. I found out that I've found that if I push my hands when they hurt, they're just going to hurt worse. Let them rest. It'll be worth it. I used to get a lot of pain in my hands. Um, I don't get it as much anymore, and I don't know why exactly. I'm not. I haven't noticed I've done anything different, but um, now if I'm on the computer for a long time, if I'm doing research, or if I'm reading, going through stuff, or doing website work, yeah, using the mouse and stuff, it does hurt my hand. You just got to know when to stop early, and you know they could be, yeah, they're kind of hearts. So like if you know the seeds from the maple tree that come down and they go around like that, that's the whirly bird. And they kind of have that when you open them, they kind of have that look. Oh, why didn't you like it, Alicia? What are the cons? Tell me. And what did you intend to use it for specifically? That will help me understand better why you don't like it. This is good info to know. It balls up. What do you mean it balls up? Is it like a really thick paint, or is it like does or is it because it breaks up on the plate? Well, usually the paints that are less expensive are going to have more of a smell. I find like craft paints, they can be stinky. But that's again, that's my perspective, my opinion. Um, you know, um, Everybody has different smell tolerance. You know what? Okay, yeah. So that's more like a craft paint. And with craft paints on the gel plate, if the more opaque they are too, the more you brayer it, they start to dry quickly and they get that cakey, chalky, and they start doing that, what you're talking about. So maybe find a different use for it. That's pretty true. All right. So with this one, if you so we had the stencil like this first. Flip it over, the design changes, goes the opposite way. You get an opposite thing going on. Let's do let's do a metallic paint here. Um, Thinking gonna do. Let's just do some gold. Yeah, try that. A little bit. Yeah, the blick. Yeah, I think that's what it is, Karen. The blick relic. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Student economy, yeah, that's going to be the lower end. Which way, I'm sure you'll find a use for it. Wonder if you could use it as a gesso. Um, and I did not talk about this when I was talking about the opaque paints, but metallics more often than not are going to be opaque because of the ingredients that make it metallic. Some of this off here that was a little bit much. It's okay. Just don't want it to take forever to dry. But I had my AC on, so things have been drying quickly. There we go. Oop, paint all over me. So it doesn't look like much now, but once we get a good pull color on it, it's going to look really neat. Interesting. So these two have to dry. So let's first clean the stencil. I think I can get this on another plate. Transfer that to this plate. This is why I like having multiple plates, is when you get a wet stencil, got plenty of paint left over, you can get another plate, slap it down. You can do this onto another piece of paper too, but if you have the paint or if you have another plate, it's good to put it on your plate, and then you can create another gel print. Oh, thank you, Karen. See? Look at that. Let's see. This is the purple and gold. It's this one here. Phew. Yes, Joanne, exactly. We talked about that earlier, that if you have a paint, depending, even if it's a heavier body, even if it's an opaque, if you gray her out thin enough, you can make it semi-opaque. It's not going to be transparent, but you can get it thin enough where there's some see-through going on. Um, and that's what we're talking about. Yeah, Karen, there you go. I was going to say that it's important to control how much paint you put on your plate, because you have, um, if you want to achieve a more, effect of, like, transparent or semi transparent or semi opaque. All right, guys. Oh, this is going to pull up nicely. Yeah, it's a different thing. It's not, it's all subjective, honestly. So it did not turn my dots of yellow brown. They're a little darker, but it didn't turn them brown, which I adore. And that yellow running down the middle of the gold, it's like pow. Turned out great. Very, very beautiful. On we shall go. I'm gonna give this one a try. Kind of scared, but I'm gonna give it a try. Yeah, not too bad. So this is the one. This had my twisted flowers down on the plate in the. This is the color I use. It's the ultramarine light. And then I took the wicker basket stencil and I put that down and I put lavender paint through that, both opaque paints. Okay. And then I pulled it with indigo. Indigo is not in front of me anymore. Um, the indigo is also an opaque. So I've got 3 opaque paints, 1 print. That indigo intensified the lavender. It's really pretty. The indigo really, really made that lavender so, so beautiful. And it's funny, it's like I'm not crazy for pinks and hot pinks, but I do love my purples. That's for sure. Yeah. Save your TP rolls and your like if you do a lot of prints on tissue, use your this is my paper towel roll, and I roll my prints up in those on those, tie them up with little kitchen twine, and they can store nicely. Can store nicely. Lovely. Now, let's get some brayer offs and do some of that blocking off with stencils and opaque paint that we're talking about earlier. Other 2 places I got going, the ink's not dry. So, you know, all right. Let's see. Got my box of brayer offs here. This is a box I decorated with tissue prints and then some pups on the bottom. So, here, let's use this one. All right, and I'm going to use one of Joni's stencils here. Wrought iron, I think this one is called. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to block off any area that's open here. And once I put paint down and I pick it up, it's going to block off these areas here on this paper. So let's do it. Let me see here. What color I want to do. I got blues and greens on here. I got two turntables and a microphone. Transparent red iron oxide. No, no, Eddie, we're not doing that. We're doing opaque paints. We're doing opaque paints. So think about this here. You know what? I've got some magenta in this heavy body. Let's do it in magenta and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hi, Lynn. Dotted around. These stencils that have a lot of openings, you want to make sure you get enough paint down to get into all those areas. And then it does look like pink. Yeah, this is the closest to pink you're going to get from me. It's magenta. All right. And be gentle when you're lifting your stencil. These are Yupo stencils. They're 100% plastic, but they're delicate. You want to take your time when you're pulling it off the plate so you don't rip it. Let's get this down here. Not too bad, Eduardo. Not too bad. I'd go with the Liquitex, Alicia. That's been my favorite white that doesn't break the bank because, like you said, it's one of those colors you might use often. Um, this is a good white, titanium. If anybody else has a recommendation, please let us know. That's how we that's how we work in this community. We help each other out, just stuff. It's also good to get different ideas and suggestions of stuff because there are people in our group that are all over the world. Like there you go, Paula. Paula's in Amsterdam, so she says Amsterdam is her favorite. She can readily get it there because it's from there. And then there are people in Australia. Maybe they have a brand that they prefer. So that's importante. Right, so let's pull this. And there you go. So totally change that brayer off just with one layer of paint and a stencil. But there you go. Yep, that too, Karen. Um, I don't have any of those brands, Alicia, so I personally can't say. Um, but there are other people who might have used it, might use those colors. see if we can repeat that. Maybe we'll change the color up a little bit. Stay where you are. Find another. Here, let's pull something on here, but we're gonna do it with the lavender. No, not lavender. I have this one here. This is a light blue violet. Let's use this. This is opaque. These two colors will mix nicely with. We'll go nicely with what's on that that brayer off there. I think this will be my last print. I do need to add paint to a couple of plates, I think. So let me see if I can get that done. Get the papers down at least onto the plate. And then I'm going to skedaddle. Ski-daddle. That's good to know, Karen. Blick has golden on sale. Nice. And Jackson's, there you go. So you've got different options to get your paint fix on. I'm running out of surfaces here. And these are quick pulls, meaning I'm going to pull it quickly. I don't have to let it sit on the plate. You can leave it to dry. You don't have to. You do not have to. Look at that. I love how that little bit of magenta got in there. So it kind of breaks it up. But that blue violet is superb on there. Well, that's the difference between the watercolor and acrylic. A watercolor can go a little bit of watercolor can go a long way depending on what you're doing. Most watercoloring, you don't need that much. You need more water than you need your paint. So that's that. Switch you and you and you and you and you. Do y'all know what that's from? And you and you and you and you. Ooh, look at pink there. Michael has all kinds of paint. Buy two, get one free, which is 33% off. That's a great deal. Actually, with this, before I do this one, clean the stencil off on here. Let's do this. This brayer needs a cleaning. Maybe I'll do that today so they're good to go for Thursday. Put them in a nice bath. I do mine with Murphy's oil and water in a bucket, and I'll let them soak. You can use a Dawn detergent too. Hello, Stamp Girl. Dalis, ¿cómo estás? Hey, Barbs. No, that is from Sound of Music. And you, and you, and you, and you. All right, so this was going to be one layer on here. You could add more, but look. What part of the country are you at, Stamp Girl? Are you in the Michigan area or Chicago area? Because that's where I hear there were storms earlier. So long, farewell, da 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 da. Yep, that's it. What is it you can't face? I love that part. Now the sun is like my dad used to say, "Pasecar mojones." Ah, that's funny. Y'all can Google and translate that. Chicago burbs. Okay. You know, what's funny is my mom's dad. So my granddad, I never met that I know of. When he divorced my grandmother, he moved to Chicago and had a whole nother family that I've never met. My mom met her stepbrothers and sisters when she went out there for his funeral, but I didn't go to the funeral, so I never met any of them. So who knows? I have relatives everywhere that I don't know about. Okay, so this one needs a layer of paint, and this is the one that has the layer of the green gold and then the gold. So what color do we think? You think a silver with the gold? But do we think it'll show up will the green show up enough? I don't know. Let me see here. Where is my silver? That's gold. Silver. Let's see. I don't want to lose the green there. I'm gonna go with the silver. I'm gonna, All right, Paula, take care. I appreciate you hanging out and say hi to Rob. I'm gonna go with the silver and let's see. We shall see. You need to go. It's a much more transparent metallic than I've seen in others. So for some reason, this one is, yeah, see, even this one is a semi-transparent. Because I knew, I'm like, okay, this paint is not it's not as opaque as the other ones, but ah, we shall see. Just paint and paper. And who knows? Maybe I'll discover a combo I didn't know I needed in my life. So let's see here. Yeah, that's going to be interesting because the green, it shows the green off nicely. All right. Now, this is probably going to be, I'm going to leave this on the plate and then I'll pull it later. And then I will, if I forget to pull it, I'll pull it Thursday. Otherwise, I'll pull it and I'll post. Okay. This is the other one I got to do this second layer of. There's that stencil now. I lost the stencil. Where did you go, my lovely? Where did you go? Seriously, where did you go? I lost the stencil. Not here. Man, what happened? No, I don't think it's on a plate. You should have seen it. The layers are pretty dark. Where are we? No. There's some BS. Uh, got it. Found it. It's hiding. So put the stencil down so it's opposite. With this one, I'm going to use this caramel color here. Nice combo. That is a semi-opaque, just like the terracotta that's already on there. Nice, but I'm not going to brayer it out too thinly, so we'll have a nice coverage. Take care, Luann. Ah, all right. You over brayer, sometimes you start pulling up paint from below. So be careful, but I like it. That's going to be a fun print. And I don't know what I pull it with yet, but I think blue is in the lead. But that has to dry completely. So let's see if this one, yeah, this one's not dry enough. So I'm going to leave this alone. It's the same, so no, it's not. Just clean it off on here. So, guys, that'll be it for today. I am scheduled again to be here Thursday, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central. Uh, so make sure you click all notifications on the stream so that you get notified. YouTube, when it's working properly, it will notify you with with the notification 30 minutes before the live starts, and then usually right when the live starts, if it's working well. So thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll get that info on the opaque paint up in Makers later, and I will see you over at PM Artist Studio in 30 minutes. Thank you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't yet. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It helps the channel so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.